Hello, this is Stephen Weiss, offering a little video, I guess a video trailer for my upcoming class on stone medicine, or stones and crystals as your healing allies. I'm, pardon my white coat, I'm in my treatment room. It's a patient care day at my practice in New York City. But I wanted to just kind of introduce myself and introduce the stones and talk about what we're doing. The way I look at it, I mean, there are some people that just do stone and crystal healing. My background is in osteopathy and sacred geometry, looking at the embryo as the map of the sacred geometry of how spirit enters the body, and it represents the way the body processes trauma and heals. And so I have discovered over the years certain allies in the stone people world that enhance what I do. I have a particular attraction or affinity to the stone people. Some of my students and patients call me a stone whisperer, which I think is pretty amusing. But in my practice, where I'm seeing pretty gnarly chronic pain patients, I use the stones to augment, empower, and kind of supercharge or turbocharge the basic manual healing work that I do, often creating results where it seems like the healing practices or ceremonies that I do kind of stall or need something, lack resources. So I'm just gonna, I've chosen 12 or maybe 13 stones that are the most common, the most important, the ones that I will sometimes tell my patients to buy and use, ones that I teach my students how to work with, and that I use in my practice. And I'll just kind of go through, I have them here on my table. This little pairing, this is Libyan desert glass. It's extraterrestrial glass. And it is this golden glassy color. And then this is one particular example of moldavite from a particular region in the Czech Republic. It has a particular, like a hedgehog, they call it, quality. This is another one that's dense. And then there's this black tektite from Australia. And the three of them represent one pairing. And then I've worked with phenakite and king cobra jasper to work with the kind of shock and support the healing of the kind of shock that I encountered in New York City in the post 9/11 era. The little pairing of the moldavite Libyan desert glass and the tektite I've been using a lot with amazing success in this phenomenon, I call pandemic shock, unique to the last 3 years. These guys are pretty extraordinary. And I describe in general how and where I use them. And again, you're getting my approach to it. With that, these two are large examples. They're both lightning-struck quartzes, and you can see somewhere, if you trace, there's a little line across there where you can see that the lightning has traced. This big cathedral point has been blown apart by lightning right up there. And the Brazilian government actually will test these to make sure that they're authentic. And then this is a stone that was broken in the earth and then healed over time, called an earthquake stone. This is a trauma stone I found useful in working with really gnarly cases of PTSD. This just reinforces healing. You know, it's one more little reinforcement to support reorganization and reaccessing the memory of perfection. And then with autonomic disorders, stress, I'm introducing a relationship of, this is a Mexican fire opal, and then I combine that with a ruby disc. You can see that pretty little triangular etching in it called a record keeper. And then these are 3 examples of sapphires. I work with sapphires. This is a small, very lovely disc. This is a larger disc that actually has a star in it. And this is a gemmy little double-pointed crystal. And depending upon what I want to do, I will use one or the other of these. And I work with that grouping to support where stress affects the diaphragms, affects our ability to breathe, affects the balance of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. And the final collection of stones has to do with something that Reverend Rosalind Briere has offered, something I use in my practice for a lot of different applications. She calls it the chemo flush. Other people call it the chem flush, not to pigeonhole it into just working with chemotherapy. And it represents basically flushing toxins from the body. The all-purpose flusher is this black kyanite wing that, held so, creates a suction quite extraordinary. To specialize, this is a epidote wing or spray, and it sucks quite extraordinarily, this time more into the cells in fascia and interstitial space for toxins. This is called a Tessenhabit quartz, having to do with the nature of the geometry of the growth, and it sucks like so. And this is a smoky quartz example. This is a crystal from Romania called a bridal veil crystal, and this is one from southwestern Colorado that forms the same sort of sucking habit. These are 2 moldavites, also extraterrestrial glass, that happen to be unique, quite extraordinary, and they, by their configuration, suck and draw. So I think that's all the stones, enough of an introduction. I hope to see you in San Diego toward the end of January. Any questions, my contact information's on the flyer. And so if you have any questions or considerations, reach out. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out, and I look forward to seeing you in January. Many blessings. Happy New Year to you.